Hello, welcome back to the Art of Reduction. My name is Reeve Andrews and I'm going to be your barber today. Today we're going to focus on a haircut that's called a French crop. I like to say that to teach is to learn twice, so this is a haircut that I need to actually practice on back in the shop. So what better way to kind of do it on film? So kind of stepping out of my comfort zone, a little nervous to do this haircut in front of people just on camera. And reason why I want to focus on a French crop today is because I think that's the style that a lot of guys are going to. Forever we had guys just kind of swooping their hair over, kind of comb over, and I'm just recently seeing a lot of guys wanting to get away from that kind of long comb over look and move to more of a kind of more forward, full, adding some texture to the hair and kind of a look. So I want to do this today. So we're going to focus on just a French crop, which is a little tighter on the sides and I created more texture on top as we go. So I'm gonna bring my model in today. His name is Kane. Hello, Kane. Nice to meet you. Come on back. So I've cut Kane's hair one time, so I just wanted him to come in today and kind of just show how I would go into a haircut that I've done just once, and then more importantly, what happened with him before is we did a perm on him, or he had a perm and we kind of cut it off. So he has a lot of texture still in his hair, and he wants to kind of do more of a tighter fade on the sides. So I thought this would be a really good haircut for him. I'd like to just start out by what I like to do is I like to just kind of get their hair into a natural shape. And like I said, today with this French crop, he kind of already has it going on. So he has a lot of texture kind of coming forward. And then you kind of see how he has a nice little taper and a fade on the sides. So as we get into this, I just want you to know our main focus is how we kind of blend in the beard and this haircut together. So again, our goal is to do a nice tight fade through the sides. And then as we adventure up, keep a lot of this fullness and texture that he has naturally in his hair. He's going to be wearing it forward. And so the products I'm going to be showcasing today is our Aveda line. I'm very lucky to have Aveda products in our shop. So we're going to be using a lot of the curly products in him today as we go through this haircut. So again, a lot of Aveda products, so be sure to kind of focus on what I use. And I'm going to be using the same tools I did last time. So my wall clippers, I'm doing a lot of JRL clippers today. And most importantly today, we're going to do a lot of scissor work. So we're going to bust out our Batari Hanzos and go to work, adding a lot of texture to his bangs and really getting in there with some scissor work today. So again, bear with me because I am a little nervous doing this haircut because it's a haircut that I'm practicing on daily. So we're going to kind of dive right in. So what I like to do is we're going to use a little bit of my Brilliant by Aveda. And this is just going to get his hair kind of prepped and ready for this haircut. So again, if you have the product in your shop, why not use it? Why not showcase it? Let the client smell the product. Let the client see the product being used. And it's gonna definitely have the opportunity to sell the product if you actually use it. So just getting this haircut kind of in shape. What I wanna do today is I'm gonna start out by kind of just trimming him up. Ooh, yeah, first of all, nice cape. If you ever need to know more about it, holler at us. But this is one of the only capes that has arms, so this really gives the client some opportunity to have some freedom, to be on his phone, wipe off his face. So pretty cool cape that we have to offer as well. So again, Kurt Kiefner is a stylist through Aveda who taught me you could start a haircut anywhere. So what I want to do is I just want to capture the most important part of this haircut, I think, is this hourglass segment of the haircut. See how it kind of fans out like this and then kind of fans back out into his beard? I call this the hourglass. So right here is going to be like the tightest part of the haircut, and we're going to kind of burst out that fade into this length and texture on top. And then what we're going to do is we're kind of going to burst down into some length on his beard, okay? So what I want to do is I want to kind of capture this little segment first in my haircut, because that's the main focus of this haircut, is this transition from this tightness here and length as we transition all the way into all this length we keep on top. So what I like to do, it took me many years to figure this out, but I think the best place to start is right behind the ear in this little C shape. Before I would start down here and try to, finagle my way up into the ear. Well, if I'm on the wrong angle, I could bring it way too high, I could bring it too low, and you're just sitting here. But if you just kind of find this natural little curvature around this ear, flip your tool over using just the toe or the heel of it around his ear, kind of capture this little C shape right here. This bad boy is going to reveal everything you need to know about this taper and about this haircut. So let me bring him back over here. So I'm just kind of cleaning up back and forth. And then from here, I can start traveling down and capturing this neckline just a little smooth. And see how that transitions right into that little bit of C shape that I worked in. So it's just a good way to kind of capture this neckline to start out this haircut. And like I said, sometimes I like to just kind of start with my clipper work and start debulking a lot of hair. But sometimes what I like to do is I kind of like to go through and just do a slight little lineup on my client first, just so I could kind of see exactly what I got to work with. And also, you're eliminating a lot of hair that's not supposed to be there. So look how much cleaner that segment of his, of his neck looks right here. So I'm just kind of going through, doing a little detail work as I just kind of capture the shape. So if you kind of notice, I just kind of cleaned that up, brought around my C shape, and now I'm kind of transitioning down into the beard. One thing I like to try to tell a lot of my girl clients or my girl employees, because they don't have beards, you don't want that beard to cut in right here. So it's very important to kind of either have that beard come straight down, or don't be afraid to have that beard kind of kick out and go with that natural curve of his neck. Again, we're trying to create this hourglass. So, it's not an hourglass if it cuts in right here, and it's not technically really an hourglass if it goes straight down, but some guys like that. So it's kind of preference. But I would encourage to kind of follow the curvature around that ear. So I'm gonna kind of come down here, not really make it straight, and I'm just going to clean this up like that. Making sure, again, I like to try to do all my detail work as I go. I have the tools in my hand to do a little work around his ear. So why not do a little bit of ear detail as I go? And to be honest with you, this is very early on into our haircut, and he is already feeling the good energy and the touch and the detail of this haircut already, and we're not even a couple minutes deep into this haircut. So I know he's already relaxed. I know he knows I'm in control. Again, if you notice, I have nice firm control. Even more importantly, when I'm using my trimmer, I always have a nice kind of a guide with my finger first. I don't really like to touch just the client with the blade only. There's not much energy being put through that, it kind of stops right at the blade. But if I come in first with a nice touch on my client, he calms down, he stiffens up, gives me a little bit more control, and then I have a way to kind of pivot and really get these really nice, firm cuts on my client. So from here, what we're going to do, we're going to transition over to the front. Again, this is just a slight lineup. I'm going to go through a lot deeper with some razor work to clean this up. So, but I'm just going to try to trap the shape as we go. Just using the comb. I'm not really using a brush or anything right now. It gives me just a little bit more freedom, a little bit more softness at first. And really, you don't want to, as much as I want to use the comb, you don't want to use it too much, because a lot of times you're going to irritate your client a lot if you're really scraping a lot with the comb. So, be careful with how much you're using that comb and how much pressure you're putting on that comb. You don't need much, so that's one thing. As a bigger guy, I have bigger hands. I need to be very careful with how much pressure I put on my tools. So, be aware of how much pressure, and you're really going to save yourself, a lot of irritation on your client's skin, which we just don't want. So the less you could just kind of use that comb, use it when you need it, the better. So again, as I'm cleaning up his beard, it's just a quick lineup. I will go deeper into the beard, but I'm just kind of following that natural thickness. You can kind of see where that beard kind of stops. Just trying to use that toe, follow that beard down naturally. Now trying to create this little C shape right here. If you notice, I'm pinching up as I go, lifting that skin, allowing that hair to fall nice and controlled into my trimmer, cleaning that up. So what I like to do now, whatever you do to one side, we're going to flip and do to the other. So here we are. So my goal now, I'm going to trap that same little C shape on this side now. So don't be afraid to bend that ear. A lot of people, they're afraid to work on their ear. Well, how am I supposed to get in there and get a clean cut if I'm not bending the ear? I think God made the ear bend for a reason. It's for to get nice crispy haircuts. So here we go. We're going to move this over, kind of brush down a little bit. And I'm just going to start up here, and I'm going to try to find that little C shape just like we did on that other side, just using the toe of my trimmer. Coming around. What I like to do is I like to stop at the top, and then I'm going to flip my trimmer around, and I'm going to meet in the middle. Flip it around, clean, and I can kind of bring this down a little bit more. I'm going to flip it around, I'm going to meet in the middle. And that just kind of helps cross-check as I go back and forth over this shape, that it's going to make it a really, really strong shape. I know a lot of you are afraid to use razors in your shop. Well, you know what? If you could get a really crispy cut with a trimmer, that's amazing. So don't be afraid to really try to dial in these haircuts and make them super edgy and super clean with just some trimmer work, And if you notice, I'm just lightly touching. It's kind of like a saw. I pinch and I go back and forth. Pinch, back and forth. Pinch, back and forth. So I'm just pinching, back and forth. Pinching, back and forth. The whole time, we're really allowing that trimmer to dig into that hair and have the opportunity to cut it. So as I transfer back over to here, same situation. We don't want that beard kicking in on it. So we want that to kind of fan out around his ear. So I'm going to just kind of come up, and I'm going to work down this beard all the way. Again, we're right around the ear, so why not show it a little bit of love? Get all those little hairs around it off of it. Again, we're in the era of 8K TVs and high def this, high def that, so it's like, he's going to be on camera, he's going to be videotaped, they see it, so why not, we're right here, why not eliminate that threat of that happening? So just make sure you're being diligent, you're being in the present, and you're really focusing on your client when they're in the chair. So as we transition over, I'm going to start capturing this C shape right here. Again, I'm just going to kind of find a natural spot using the toe. Cutting this out. Again, I could already tell the intro of this video was a little whack, and like I said, this is just kind of a nervous haircut for me. I don't do this haircut much. It's something I've been learning in the last couple months, and I just really wanted to showcase this. I already feel more comfortable with the trimmer in my hand and me cutting, and as you cut hair, I feel like you start to find your peace and your love doing this, so I feel already more, my anxiety's lowered, because this is what I love to do. Talking out loud is the hardest part of this. So just appreciate you following me along with this process, and I really could already tell that he's in a good state of mind, and I know this haircut's really going to pop off for both of us. So as we continue through this, clean up that beard. Again, I'm not trying to lower his beard too much unless he asks me. I'm just trying to make this look like a nice, perfect beard that, again, I just try to imagine what if he was an angel, if this was the perfect face, haircut, and beard trim for my client for his face shape, his lifestyle, what he does in the morning, what he doesn't do. This is what I'm trying to create for my gentleman. And I'm just looking at the curvature of his cheekbones and his face, and really trying to create a haircut that is going to be really beautiful and long-lasting for him. My main objective is to really give them a haircut that at least lasts a month. I think that's pretty fair. If they're coming in, pampering themselves once a month, having that conversation with you, getting some energy off, that once a month is a great opportunity. So if you're getting a haircut to them that's about once a month out, you're really giving them a proper haircut for their lifestyle, for who they are, and you should be really proud of yourself. So let's go ahead and just kind of clean up our neckline real quick. I like to do my lines all the way down first and then kind of line it up. But I'm gonna line the bottom up last, because I'm gonna fade all that out into just his neckline. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take this line all the way down. Same thing over here. Again, we'll bust out the razor later on in this haircut to really edge all this out. So there we go. That little hard lineup, I like to call it, is pretty significantly done. And now we could really kind of start and really work on this haircut. So same situation. I'm going to do one side, and then I'm going to go to the other, do the other side, and then we're going to do the back. So again, it doesn't matter where you start your haircut, it's how you finish your haircut. So what I want to do with him is, we're going to be aggressive. Again, we're here for one time only. So we're going to just go ahead. That's our guideline right there. So what I want to do now is I'm going to have an open guard, and I'm going to try to fade this out and taper this out. So I have no guard, completely open. And I'm actually going to kind of come up under, so that's my guideline. I'm actually going to come up underneath of that, kind of capture that beard. Again, I want this to be the tightest part of this haircut, was that where that little niche is right there. So as we adventure down, we're going to get longer. As we adventure up, we get longer. So I'm going to do a half guard here, and then I'm just going to start kicking up. Nice aggressively. Don't be afraid to move their head. I like to kind of tilt them away a little bit. Gives me a little bit more wiggle room. We're just going to sit here and be very patient, listening to our guard kind of come down. And again, I'm going to go over this a couple times. So if it doesn't look perfect right away, that's what was hard for me. It's like, oh my gosh, it doesn't look super clean. Like, just be patient. The clippers will grab the rest of the hair as you trust your process. So open guard. Now I'm moving over to my one guard. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to close it just for a second. So it's a closed one guard, creeping down my beard. Again, I would like to say anything from here up is sideburn, and here down is beard. So this is still part of my sideburn right here. So this is a one guard, and I'm just going to creep it right up into that no guard that we just had that was open. So this is a one guard, closed, just working up. See how his hair kind of kicks down a little bit. So I want to kind of come up into that, watching which way his hair grows, being very picky. Even if you're looking at just one hair and seeing how it grows, that's the way that you should kind of bring that clipper into that cut. So just really soft butterflies on your wrist, just really easy. Again, I'm not knocking them at all. That kind of gets annoying if you're just knocking your client in the head with your clipper. So just make sure you're having a nice soft touch. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to a 1.5 guard right now. And I'm going to open it up, completely open. Again, I'm trying to really bust into a lot of this texture up top, and I'm going to get super tight as I get low. So now I have this 1.5 open, just working on the one side of his head, making sure I'm going into the way his hair grows. You can already kind of start to see this haircut come to life a little bit. And don't be afraid. I've been learning to cut down on the haircut quite more. I try to learn from everyone we hire at Bent. It's very important for myself to learn from every single person, because I think we all have something to teach and to learn from each other. So like I said from the beginning, to teach is to learn twice. So me up here trying to do these haircuts, to be honest with you, I'm learning just as much as you're learning, and I'm actually probably learning a lot more. So I appreciate you guys for just watching this, and hope you guys are catching some good energy and some ideas as we go. Coming down. Again, I like to backpedal too a little bit. It's a good way to kind of soften up your haircut. Again, I'm not digging in, I'm just kind of following down, kind of on those little thicker areas of that haircut. Again, train your mind. Just because it doesn't look perfect right now, it's okay. We're going to continue this haircut. We're going to come back to everything. We're going to go back through everything we just did. So do not worry. So now I'm jumping on a 2-guard, completely open. You're getting the kind of the understanding. We're going to keep these guards completely open until we start transcending back down this haircut, where we're going to start closing the guards minutely throughout the whole haircut. So again, reducing this bulk. Actually using my comb just a little too much. Again, he has a lot of texture in his hair. He has very soft hair. One of my staff pointed out. So, you just got to be really patient, and more importantly, you have to be very soft with your touch, because if you're really going over this hair this many times to get this look, you could really irritate your client. So just be soft, be gentle with that clipper, and just trust that clipper is going to do the work that you need it to do. So continue working up. And I'll probably go up to about a 4.5, maybe a 5-guard. But rule of thumb, I kind of like to jump on my scissor probably out of 4-guard max. But again, today's world, haircuts are changing. I need to change as well. So 2-guard open, switching over to my 3-guard now. And then I'm going to start to kind of come sideways on him as I go up this haircut. It just feels like his haircut kind of grows out like that. So I don't want to fight it. I want to work with it, enhance it. So just kind of creep up a little bit into here. Cleaning this up. Again, you could tell I have them really relaxed, which is definitely what you want. So I encourage you to, your goal is to keep them relaxed but in control. So I just need to make sure I keep a nice, good touch on him. Firm control. Okay, so we're going to transition over. If you notice, one of the best massage therapists I've ever had, I was just like, what is your trick? Like, why do you feel so much different than anyone else who's giving me a massage? And she laughed, and she goes, as soon as I start my service, I never let go of you. And so if you notice how when I go to transition into my guards, I have a control on his head the whole time. So then I could come right back into exactly where I was. So it's a way for my mind to keep me on track, keep him engaged, keep him up at like where you need him to be, and it's relaxing. So it's a triple threat, and who doesn't like that? So just make sure you have a good touch on your client. 3-guard all the way open. Working my way up. So this is where, listen here. So I'm gonna skip my 4. I'm gonna jump right to my 5, but I'm gonna close it. So I had everything opened. Now I'm skipping a guard. This is a 3. I'm skipping up to my 5. That was a 4. Sorry, I'm skipping up to my 6. So let me rephrase that. So that was my 4, skipping my 5, moving to my 6 guard, closed. And I'm just gonna go really fan out because I want texture and fullness through here. So I'm just let's move that hair away. Another great way just to make sure we're not touching any hair we don't need, just clip some of that up. It's a very simple clip, is all I need. And I could just kind of get that hair that I'm not using out of my way, and I'm just gonna phantom up this side. And I did not forget about my 5. I'm gonna go back to that. But let's just make sure we keep a lot of this fullness first with our 6, just to play it safe. Back and forth, being patient. Okay, so now I'm going to transition all the way back down this haircut with a closed 5 guard now. The one I just missed, I'm bringing it right into my 6. Again, that 6 was just to make sure I didn't go too high with my 5. I want to keep a lot of that darkness, that fullness to that occipital bone right there. And we're going to just keep working this out. Making sure you're moving his scalp, his head, how you want it. And you're trying to remember the exact pattern that you did on this side, because here in a second, we're going to do exactly what we did on this side to the other side. So that was my 5 guard closed. Moving down to my 4 guard. Have it closed. Flicking out very aggressively. I'm not trying to create any new lines. I'm trying to buff them all out. So, and I'm also just using like the toe of my clipper, not really using the flat part of it, because I really want to buff all this out. And I always heard to put lines in, you keep it flat, and to get lines out with, you kind of tilt it, use the toe of it, and it works for me. So that's how I'm busting this out, making sure I'm always constantly kind of going forward with this haircut, those bangs, the haircut's going forward. So why not continue creating this shape forward? Moving to my 3 guard now. Making sure I hear that click, making sure I have finger control. That finger control on that clipper really allows me to have these kind of movements and be able to move fast, be able to have confidence that it's not going to pop off, and really have confidence that if I need to dig in there and really kind of bust some hair out, I have the opportunity at any point I want to really dig in and know that that back end's not going to fall off my clipper and ruin this haircut. So again, just confidence, creating confidence for yourself so you can get the job done is very, very, very important. So I could already tell that I'm not looking at the camera that much on this haircut, though again, like I told you from the beginning, this is something that I just can't do in my sleep. Like, this is my second time cutting his hair like this. The gentleman I've cut before, I've cut their hair for many years. So, you know, this is just a great opportunity for you to walk with me on this journey as we learn this haircut. And so now I am going to have to get a little bit more intricate. So I have that 3 guard closed. But here in a second, when I jump on my 2 guard, we're going to kind of start doing a little bit more work. Because again, our main objective is to get a nice, tight, clean little taper right here at the very bottom of this cut. So keep working that out, have it closed. Now we're about to move over to our, that was a 2 guard, to a 1.5 guard. And I'm going to have it completely opened. And so now we're going to really start focusing on this taper down here. And with that being said, we're going to really focus on moving this lever bit by bit by bit on the next couple of guards to really create this quick taper, you know, down to the beard. So here we go. So I'm going to slowly cut this down, tick by tick, move this clipper tighter and tighter, listening to the haircut, going with the flow, cross-checking, making sure I'm getting any kind of dark little spots. And this is a pretty hard haircut to do on a Caucasian head of hair. So I heard that today as well. So it's like, you know, just know that things are hard and you're going to have to push yourself to try to really advance. And like I said, this is a lot of work just to get this one little shape down, you know. And so it's just be patient, breathe, have a good conversation with your client. Maybe it's, you know, through some of this you could just vibe out and be in your head and just really focus on giving a really good taper at these corners. So it's all about how you want to play it. I really try to give a good service as well as a good haircut. I play it by a 70-30 rule. I want my clients talking 70%, and I want to be talking 30%, if less. You know, they're not paying you to hear your story. You're here to listen to their story and try to become better for them. So just remember that. Just try not to be the one talking 24/7 during the service, and really allow you, just listen. And the more you listen in life, the better life is going to be for you, to be honest. So, and the fact that I'm talking so much makes me just want to listen as well. So I appreciate you guys again just sitting in here, digging in. The haircut's looking great. And again, I think you're already starting to see something really cool take place already. So that's completely closed. Now we're jumping on our half guard, and we're going to open it all the way back up, and we're going to work this back down. Moving that hair how you need it. Slowly closing that clipper guard. All the way. Still hearing that hair being taken. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna switch clippers because I've been rocking this bad boy for a long time. So I assume it's getting hot. I'm about to move to just my blade. So a warm blade on that fresh skin, no go. So I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of cool care just to cool it down for a second. And I'm gonna jump on my JRLs. I'm gonna put that same guard back on just because I think these get a little tighter than my walls right there. And I'm just trying to keep this super clean. So why not just, keep that extra step, jump on a new clipper, put on the same guard you just had all the way closed, and then I'm jumping off of that, and I could get on a completely open no guard, just using the toe. Making sure you're working it at 360 degrees if you have to, seeing which way that hair grows. Nice and tight, blending it into that beard. Closed. A little tighter, you could hear that click by click. Really getting that bad boy looking tight. All the way closed, I believe. Now I'm gonna flip it. I think they call this tiger paw. Kind of looks like a tiger, which I like. So a little tiger paw action just to kind of clean that up. Really buffering that out. Again, hard haircut, a lot of detailed work. Though when he walks around and people see that, they're gonna be like, oh damn, that's fresh. So now from here, whatever you put the line in with, you're gonna get the line out with. So I'm gonna use my Hattori Hanzo trimmers again. And remember we were over here doing our little C shape? Well, let's go back and do that little C shape again. This is that second kind of lineup that I'm talking about. We did that first little lineup. Now I'm going back over it, cleaning everything up. Again, if you're a good stylist, you have them really relaxed. Again, you got to be in control. They're here to relax. That's why they're here. So it's more important for me to keep a good touch on him, be in control, especially during this, moment where you're using a trimmer. Cleaning everything up as you go. You already started to see him kind of come to life a little bit more, even though it didn't seem like there was much to cut. And that's the beauty of the art of reduction, is just taking something, dwindling it down to a more pure state. And that is just so cool. So I feel really confident with this before I get on my razor work. So guess what? We get to flip this bad boy all the way around. And we're going to do that all over again. So this time I'm going to go a little faster and kind of run through this. Still, you'll get what I'm saying, but I'm just going to go a little faster for you today. So just like we did in the beginning, we're going to find that initial spot. And I'm just grabbing it. I'm just kind of finding it. Again, looking at him one-on-one. Bam. Even if it takes you, if I had a mirror, that'd be the mirror helps. So let's just bring that up just a little higher. There we go. Cool. So there we go. That's our spot. Let's fire it up. So my clipper was cooling all the way open, and I'm going to try to remember exactly what I did. So halfway, this is a no guard all the way open, coming down below his beard, just up a little bit. Just a little bit. Again, like I said, we're going to go all the way back through this. So it was hard for me to understand. It doesn't have to look perfect this round, where you just understand that. It doesn't. As you transcend back down, you'll be able to buff all that out. So the quicker you realize that, the better. So from there, I'm skipping my half guard, jump into a closed one guard. Just cleaning that up just a little bit, using the toe. Flicking out, nice and fast, nice and healthy. Soft touch. Clean it up around the ear. Bam. From there, move into my 1.5. And what did I do? I opened it all the way up. Gonna rock all the way up. Again, what I need to do, why not? See, what I would have easily knocked this corner out. See that corner? If I would have continued my fade up, I would have started creeping into that, and that would have changed his whole haircut. So why not just get that hair out of the way? Just as simple as that. Just getting that little hair out of the way is really gonna make this haircut pop for both him and I. And when that happens, the money goes up. So let's just give it a good touch on him. Fade up. And now I'm about to jump to my second iron. I'm kind of letting go of him a little bit more because it's kind of a far stretch, or I would keep a nice touch on him. So 2 guard, all the way opened. I'm gonna come around. Okay. 3 guard, all the way opened. I want the haircut coming with me, just like that other side, coming forward. So I'm not doing much hair. I'm not bringing them back like that. If you notice, I'm coming with that hair. Okay. 4 guard now. And if you remember here in a second, we skipped our 5 guard and moved right into our 6 guard closed. I always find one side of the hair to be easier than the other. I could already tell this is the easier side for Kane, which makes my job a little easier, So here we go. So that was a 4 guard, all the way opened. Remember, we're skipping our 5 guard, jumping straight to our 6 guard, all the way closed. Again, really hard fan out. I want that full. I want that texture up top. I don't want that nice and clean. I want a kind of a hard transitional blend. So just really quick fan out. I'm not hitting his head, just fanning out, making that look great. So here we go. Jumping from our 6 guard to our 5 guard, and I'm gonna have it closed. I'm gonna have it closed all the way down to my 1.5 card, if I remember correctly. And then at my 1.5 is when I start to do that detail work with my lever on the side. So again, I'm working all the way down, cleaning up, flicking out, keeping some texture. 4 guard, closed, nice firm touch. If you notice, before I even came in, boom, there's my strong touch. He's not moving. I get to be in control. And I'm not hearing much hair. See how I'm not hearing much hair? That's okay. That means I can move forward. So let's move forward. Jump into my 3 guard now. Keeping it closed. Listening to that click. Keeping my guard control on point. Again, not hearing much hair. Good. Let's continue our transition down. 2 guard. Closed. Start to notice I'm starting to pinch. I'm starting to pull. See that skin pull? That hair pull? That's very important. That's going to give it, when I singe it back, it's going to kind of bounce back into a nice tighter shape. So if you notice, I'm starting to pinch a little bit more, especially as I get tighter. So imagine if I'm pinching here, I'm getting tighter here. It's going to allow that haircut to have a little bit better look, a little bit tighter look as we get low right here. Working that over, looking really good. Okay, so now remember when we got to our 1.5, I had it closed, or I had it open first, but remember I'm gonna slowly close it as I transition down, really start to detail the lower part. I'm gonna have my head tilted a little bit now, gives me a better view. Okay, I have it all the way closed now. I can still hear some hair being taken, so let's be patient. We don't have to move fast. Just take our time. Looking really good so far, and that's just at our 1.5. Okay, so let's move to our 1 guard now, completely opened. We're going to kind of cutting back around the ear, following that hair shape. Perfect. Doing my little tiger paw move right here as we get down into this cut. Okay, move into our 1/2 guard now, all the way opened. Come a little less around the ear, kind of creeping down in our beard a little bit more. Again, this is a lot of work for a small section of the haircut, but that's why I get paid the big bucks, and I want you guys to get paid the big bucks too. And I don't even know what the big bucks is, you know? I'm just here to cut hair, and it just works. People love it, and they come back, and it's just, I know the devil's in the detail, the money's in the detail. So if we could get that detail up, you know, it just, life happens, and it's just a great opportunity to bless your client, and which blesses you. So 1/2 guard, almost done with it. Now, like I said, I'm transitioning to a no guard now, so let's hit this. Cool care, jumping in on the new clipper, same trim, same guard, just to play it safe. You can hear some hair, so that was a smart move on our behalf. Working it out, jumping off of it real quick, open guard, and we're going to slowly work all the way down. So far, I'm really loving this haircut for him. It's looking really good. He deserves every second of a good haircut. Slowly click it down. Slowly click it down. I'm going to stay in this tiger paw section the whole time. Probably feels really good. We'll come up. And that's starting to look really beautiful. So, like I said, we're going to go back over our lineup, try to make this as crispy as we can as we go. I like to try to cut hair my goal is I really want the hairline and all this to look really good, because if we had a fire, an emergency, and he had to run out, if I took these clips down, that still looks like a good haircut, you know? So that's I feel like that's my goal, is get the foundation of the haircut set, and then I could build up from there. And once I get to the build up section, everything's easy. You know, this is the hardest part of this haircut, is just the foundation part of this. So once you get that, you're set. You know, like I said, I'm a cosmetologist by heart, so you know, doing the barber work first, this is the scariest part for me. Once I get past it, my anxiety goes down. I'm like, oh shit, you know, like I'm gonna be able to do the rest of this with ease. So I feel like with every haircut, with every barber, there's this point of the haircut where it's the downhill. It's like, oh, it's getting easier. So I just encourage everyone to keep going until you get to that downhill moment, and all of a sudden you'll realize that comes earlier and earlier and earlier as your career advances, and it feels really good. So let's move to the back now. Again, we're just going to work. We're going to keep all of this really full through here. So we're going to try to pinch in the little haircuts we did on the side here, but we're really going to focus just nice and low. So I'm not going to tap him out like we did that front. I'm actually going to fade him down, but I'm going to get really tight when I do. So we're going to do with a 4 guard open, and I'm just going to start working down this fade. I'm going to have him looking down majority of the time, slightly tilting him back and forth to get a good angle. creeping up into that taper we did up front. Just to, I call it to kind of tie it in. So I'm just kind of coming up here on these little corner sections, tying that taper in to this back section, tying this taper into the back section, working it out. Okay, 4 guard. Move into my 3 guard now. And I'm going to have this halfway open. Not all the way open, but halfway, because I still want some softness up here, but I really want to start kind of reducing some of this hair in bulk. So, and especially since I'm not doing a taper, I'm doing a fade, I really need this to be pretty faded. So the more I could use my lever, to me, the more that's going to be faded and kind of a prettier, more unique look back here, the better. So I'm actually slowly, unlike the other ones, every time I put a guard on, I'm going to keep it open, and I'm just going to slowly lower it as I go. So I have this 3 guard, completely closed now. And if you notice now, I'm not really getting into a skin. I'm keeping this clipper really in bounds, meaning I'm keeping it on the inside of the hair. I'm keeping it in bounds. I'm not really coming too much, trying to irritate that skin that we just worked on real nicely. So I'm just keeping it in bounds, keeping it just hair only right now. Now we're jumping to my 2 guard, completely open, tilting his head down. You could hear that hair instantly being taken. So that means we're right on track where we need to be. Don't be afraid to move their head and neck around to be exactly where you need it to be. Perfect. Have it all the way closed now. Tilting his head up just a little bit so I can kind of get a little nicer pinch. If you have it open, you're able to round up, and as we get in, that clipper has to kind of do a little harder cut in, so it's going to start grabbing it, kind of tightening it up, really kind of start bringing that fade down really nice and crispy at the bottom. Here in that hair, so I know we're okay to continue this. Okay. Now we're jumping to a 1.5 guard. Open all the way. Coming straight up with a nice little flick at the end. Trying to keep this nice and soft. Nice and soft. So far so good. Don't be afraid to kind of come sideways. Cross check. Get everything buttoned up. If you notice, I'm using the back side of my comb to comb. I'm not trying to make it too irritating. So I feel like the comb part is what gets irritating. So if you just kind of want to still remove some of the hair and kind of put the hair in a place, using the back side of your comb it feels good for the client, and it really serves a good purpose. And you're not causing really any irritation doing this technique. So hopefully you guys were listening in, following in, because that's a pretty deep, I never even thought to tell people that. So a lot of times I do just use the back end of the comb, especially when we're doing this more kind of detailed work, super low, close to the skin. So moving to my 1 guard now, completely open. Working out this neckline. I feel like a lot of people have a lot of hard time with this. Like, what do I do with it? So it's like, I just try to pretend it's completely full. Like there's hair all the way through this. So I don't really even notice, some of these little softer spots that he has here. Like I look through that. So I just kind of cut like that's not there. So I'm gonna go right over it as if there was hair to fade. And I promise you it's gonna look really cool and really natural as we get through this taper and this fade. So as this hair grows, this hair is growing to the corner, so I need to make sure I'm following the hair pattern to make this look nice and clean. Moving his neck in the way I need it to get my job done. It feels comfortable for him. I'm gonna slowly close my clipper. Coming down now using that tiger paw. I'm slowly closing that clipper guard tighter and tighter. You can kind of hear that hair being taken. Clean, clean, clean. Let's come up now. Again, he sat down. It's like, his hair's not too long. It actually had a pretty good shape when he sat down. But I can only imagine on camera right now that it would have to start to look just so much just cleaner and more put together. So it's amazing what some TLC and some thought will do to even, a guy who's coming in who doesn't have much hair to cut. So people are definitely going to notice this haircut. He's going to notice it, and people are going to come to your chair. So that's the name of the game. So tiger paw again. Okay, moving to half guard now. Completely open. You kind of understand the system right now. Moving that head in the position that's going to make my life easier and not too uncomfortable for him. I'm going to tilt him up, start pinching down a little bit more. Tighter. You could hear that hair being taken, so why not just sit there for a second longer? Again, you're trying to do what the barber up the street's not doing. You're trying to do everything else. So, be patient. Don't just try to go to the lunch. Don't try to just go, just give your guy the haircut he needs, and then you could go home at the end of the day. That's just the name of the game. Okay, so I'm already closed. That's looking really good. From here, I like moving over to a no guard soon. So I put the same guard, just like we did that taper, using a different clipper, same guard, just to kind of feather this out. And what I want to do here in a second is I want to go back. This is a little different. I'm going to go back to my trimmer now, and I'm going to kind of finish out some of this lineup work before I jump on my half guard and fade him out. So let's line him up just a little bit more crispier. You'll start to see why and how good this will look if you do. Because if you go any tighter and then try to do the lineup, you don't have much hair for your trimmer to grab. So you're kind of hurting yourself a little bit going super short and then trying to add the lineup. So I'd like to add a lineup kind of first to get me some edge, and then I'll finish out this fade here just in a second. And I think that right there is just a bang for your buck because it really creates a cool look. So from there, pop off your half, close guard open now. Doing a little kind of, now not as much of a flick, I'm kind of doing a little bit of a kind of a tornado or kind of just more of a circular motion, just trying to really soften up where those little cowlicks were, where it was a little softer, kind of camouflage those in. Closing it, all the way closed. Roger that. That's looking really good from what I could tell without the mirror. So let's jump on my trimmer. And I'm going to go tiger paw the whole time now. So I'm really going to try to clean this up. So let's blow him off. I usually blow people off a lot more than I did during the service. Like I said, my attention was just kind of deeper today with him. So let's get this neck kind of showcased a little bit. So I want to showcase a nice Dyson. Love this bad boy. And so I'm going to hit him with a little bit of our air control by Aveda. And then I'm going to jump on just a feather razor real quick. Again, a lot of you guys, aren't allowed to use razors, so let me kind of show you just the beauty of a feather razor on my friend Kane here. It has a nice little guard on it, so I can't really cut myself and I can't cut you, but I could really create a really detailed look with just my feather razor. So keeping a really soft touch, using the back of my hand to feel for any abrasions or any hair still on the skin. It feels just like you're using a straight razor. So if you're wanting to use a straight razor, this is a great way to kind of get into the game of a blade and of razoring. And to be honest with you, I think you'll even enjoy this tool so much more because you could actually cut a lot of hair with it. So let me move back around, sorry. So like I said, I'm just going through here and just kind of lining them up with the toe of my feather razor. Again, it has a nice sharp blade on it. I get a new one for every single person. Why not do a little bit of eyebrow work while he's here? Okay, and we're going to just kind of tighten up right where I added that little doop. Remember at the very beginning of this cut? Again, that's the tightest spot. So why not just kind of take that razor and kind of showcase that just a little bit more. Just really show the world that, hey, this is where that haircut fucking started. Whoops. And just really show it off, So I'm really doing a little detail work at that bit. Looks good. So like I said, now I feel like once I get done with this little bit, this little detail work around his ears, cheekbones, again, cleaning up underneath that cheekbone is so crucial. Cleaning up that top arch. Again, I don't like to make their eyebrows feminine. I'm not doing that. I'm just making them look a little bit more natural, cleaner. If there's any wild ones, and more importantly, I want him to seem brighter out when he walks out my shop. So cleaning up this little baby hair right underneath that hair, like underneath his eyes, dude, he's gonna feel like a different man when he opens his eyes. And again, that is my main objective. Just like we did that one side, you kind of see that initial guideline. So let's bust that out a little bit more. So we'll make sure that blends in with the beard. That's my hourglass. That's the most important part. It feels good. It looks good. Beautiful. Okay, so before we get done with that, let's jump on our foil shaver and really set this off, and then we're going to move to the top, and we're really almost done. What's great about this haircut is really all the energy is really in the taper and in the back. So once you get this, it's going to go quick once we get to the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start down like we did in our last video. My initial swipes, always down, trying to get right up into that hairline, not really trying to hit it too much. You don't be afraid to kind of tap into it, just because as long as you're going with the hair, I don't think you'll have too much trouble with it grabbing or messing up your hairline. But be very careful. But it's a light touch and then a harder touch. Light touch, harder touch. Light touch, harder touch. So it's like you're putting more pressure on that downward stroke at the very bottom. Okay, if you want to kind of soften up this haircut, make sure you go with it. The beard, the nose. Perfect. Let's blow him back off. And then we're going to move. So if we're looking at him now, that is considerably different than when he walked in. So we're going to pop off our clips, and then we really get to have some fun. So let's get his hair back in action. I'm using my Brilliant Control. Just getting a little bit more control, movement, busting out some of these curls. And again, like I said, I like to partition my hair off that I'm not going to use. So I'm not going to cut these bangs just yet. So what I'm going to do, I like the bubbles too. So let me bust my comb out. So I'm going to pull them off. This is a good technique. And I mean, this is old school. I bet most of you guys know this. But the best way to find out where the bang goes is to put that comb right on the top of his head and then where that angle creates, where his head and that comb create an angle, that is the start of his bangs, or the end of his bangs. So I create a line from where that angle meets, and to me, everything above that is his bang. And so aren't we glad we kept those corner pieces? Remember, we put those up, because if we cut those out, we wouldn't have that full bang that we're trying to create. So I'm actually going to partition off his bangs first, and we're going to focus on the back. And I'm going to go kind of crazy today. So I'm going to put a couple of pins up here because I'm really going to go kind of hard very quickly on the top, and I really don't want to pull any hair back. Okay? So this haircut goes forward, so I'm going to be careful, kind of comb this back over into its natural shape. And I'm going to use my 21 tooth Hattori Hanzos, and I'm going to use a blow dryer. So this might be a little loud, but this is how I like to create a lot of texture. Make sure it's on the cool setting during this. You don't want to hurt your client. And I keep it up. And I'm going to bust out all that bulk with my blow dryer. And basically, my theory behind this is that wind is the arch enemy of hair. You know, in all the silent films you watch, like you always see the guy's toupee or the girl's hair go crazy because of wind. So my theory is if I'm using this high-powered wind, it's going to show me all the bad hairs. So basically what I'm doing is I'm using this blow dryer to showcase all the bad hairs for me, and those are the only ones I'm going after. And with this being a texturizing shear, I'm not taking too much length off, if any, and just eliminating all the bad hairs and kind of making it all flow and look really nice and pretty back here. And my goal is to cut most of this like this. So I'm going to have them tilted back, trying to find any bad hairs. I really love these Dyson blow dryers. They're just really nimble, have a lot of power, and really allow me to go really hard and really quick when I need to be. And more importantly, you have to buy these. The Hattori Hanzo shears, it's like butter. It's able for me to really rip in here, be fast. It doesn't hurt him, and allows me to really give a cool haircut in a nice, timely manner. So I can already tell this is looking really cool. Blending this out. So now what I'm going to do is I got you. Might have to look down. And now I'm just going to hit them this way. Again, I'm trying to keep a lot of this fullness up front, so I want it a little shorter in its crown. And as he adventures up, if you notice, I'm not cutting his bangs. I'm cutting all the hair behind his bangs. You kind of see that part I made on him. So that's my guideline. I'm not cutting any hair on the other side of that part. So that's why I could go really fast and it looks like I'm not kind of going crazy, but no, there's some rhyme and reason to all this. Okay, so I appreciate you dealing with the blow dryer noise. Those are pretty quiet though, which is nice. So, cut my crown, cut my top. Isn't this going a lot faster than that part of the fade? Which is what I love about these haircuts, is that once you get down that downward hill, it's like, whew, the haircut goes so quick. So let's blow him off. So again, we're trying to keep a lot of this texture up front, but if you notice now how much cleaner those sides look, that back look, and as we transition in, all of a sudden, bam, we're popping into those curls and the money makers. So how I do my bangs though, I kind of do it reverse order. So now what I want to do is I'm going to come up on him and we're going to just go piece by piece. So I don't really like that comb to partition. Okay, so I'm just gonna go real small sections here. And I know you're like, why so small sections? But the bang is so important. You know, it's the first thing your client sees. It's the first thing everyone else sees. So it's very, very important. So we're just going to have a little hairspray. And again, we're not taking too much of this off. So I'm actually going to use my feather razor again. A lot of people commented on the feather razor, like the feather razor. So let me showcase it again on all the advancements and stuff you could do with this thing. So again, just looking for outliers. This, you kind of see this one little curl is a little thicker than the rest. So let's just kind of come in here and just break it up ever so slightly. Nothing crazy, but it was just a little different looking than the rest. It already looks a little bit better, taking off some of those points. Again, trying to keep this full. I know it seems like I'm not doing much, but again, this is the most important part of the cut. And the goal now is every time we're going to kind of fill in bangs, okay? So we're going to kind of fill this in as we go. So that was good. Next little section of bang. Trying to keep these nice and full, a lot of texture. Again, the more attention you can make, him feeling me put these clips in, parting them out, like I know that feels good. My barbers do that to me. So I know he knows that I'm really thinking of what I'm doing. I'm being diligent. And the money goes up when your client can kind of feel that attention to detail. So again, it just feels like his hair bunches up just a little bit in that corner. So I'm just going to break that up every little time. Again, we're keeping it full. Bringing down more bangs. Clipping them up. We're getting there. We're almost now we're slowly meeting into the hair that we cut, pushing this way. So we're kind of meeting in the middle, creating volume through the front of this gentleman's cut. So I like to kind of bring my back finger up to kind of create a backdrop for my blade to kind of capture onto. It's a good way to kind of not pull the hair and get a really good cut on someone. So just using your finger as a backdrop. And again, it's nice and thick right here. So let's pull this up a little bit. I'm going to twist just a little bit. Cut those tips off. Already looking better. Again, I just can't thank you guys enough for tuning in with us. This has been such a treat, and more importantly, with this episode, I realized how important hair is to me. Like I said, I was nervous at the front of the intro, and then as I got into it, I just, like I said, my anxiety went down as I got lost in the haircut. So I just encourage you guys to get lost into your haircuts. It's just be in the present, be right with your client, be with every single hair you decide to cut. And I promise you'll start noticing a very beautiful haircut come to life each and every time. So again, I just thank you so much for watching this cut as we go. You can already see how just much fuller that looks. I'm going to bring more back. Again, we got to be careful we're not taking too much length off. I want this nice and full. And then the last bit is this last piece. So let's just bring it down. We're going to have to tilt this head forward. And again, I use this whole bang section using my feather razor. So I'm just going to I like to use the word tying this in, tying that back part of that haircut into that French crop front, adding some texture. And then from here, let's blow them off. I'm going to do just a little bit of bang work at the very tip. I'm a big fan. You want them to go home and be able to kiss their significant other. So I just noticed that I kind of left his mustache a little long. So why not just kind of clean it up again? You're just trying to add a little bit of added service wherever you can, a little bit of detail wherever you can. So like he's thinking his haircut's done, and all of a sudden I just do a little bit of extra work around his face to pop off his haircut. Like he remembers that stuff. And then from here, I'm just gonna come down and I'm just gonna come up underneath and then just any hairs I don't like, just right up underneath that, kind of create a little lineup that no one else could see, but he feels. Bam. So let me style him out real quick. Again, I can't thank you guys enough for watching. This is, again, I feel very, very blessed and honored to be able to do this haircut because this is one I've been struggling with. So hopefully this allows you to kind of have a little bit more confidence than I did trying this haircut out. So let's put a little bit of product in him. I'm going to use just a little bit of the Be Curly today, just to add a little bit of moisture back into his hair. Again, I like to work the product all the way into my hands. I'm going to start in the back, work my way forward. And again, I'm just allowing this hair to kind of naturally grab this product. This adds moisture back into his hair. For some reason, I always like to close my eyes when I style him out because if I could style him out with my eyes closed, he could probably do it with his eyes open. So I like to just kind of close my eyes, kind of run it around. If I pop my eyes open and things are kind of looking good naturally, I feel really, really good about myself. Another great product by Aveda is the hair potion. So I'm going to add just a little bit of potion. I just like to tap the bottle, and this just turns into almost like a light clay. Pop him off. I always like to check out my client without the cape on. And that, your friends, is a French crop. And I can't thank you enough. We're going to be doing some long hair next week, so hopefully you tune in then. And Kane, I can't thank you enough for swinging in. And thank you for viewing.